What's up, family? It's your boy Chappell coming to you with another episode of Recap Kickback. Recap Kickback, of course, is where I get together with you, the listeners, and dive into the world of Black entertainment or whatever else I decide to talk about. Again, it's Black History Month, and we are in the midst of our February top five, where every week we will rank the Black movies and television shows to find the top five of each genre and celebrate this supersized Black History Month. We got one extra day, and I intend on using it. So, with me once again, you guys to talk about the five Black comedies this week. My co host, who knows exactly where her top five rank in this top five, it's Mari. Mari, what's up?
Man, I'm excited about this one. This one has the most disparate of results. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like, I think there's a consensus top two slash top three, and then the rest is just like go with God. Like
really?
literally, I will tell you the drop off, the vote count drop off as well, because this one seems way more of a drop off than our other two. So, and I think it's because the Black comedies, we sourced 15 of them. It, I mean, these comedies run the gamut, and comedy we know is subjective, and so everybody has different things that make them laugh. So if you're not the top one, two, that's definitely getting in everybody's individual top fives. The rest of it just kind of like small smatterings of votes. So it's very interesting. I'm really excited to talk about it, and we have a great guest to join us this week. So I've been loving these top fives. I hope everybody else has. Thank you. We love hearing from you guys. We've been hearing from a lot of people. So keep it up, please. We love to get feedback.
Yes, loving the feedback, loving the reviews and the 5-star ratings and the emails. It's been a good time. It's very interactive here. So let me just let y'all in behind the curtain. So what I do when I'm trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to include on the survey? I just go ask a bunch of Black Facebook groups. So I'm talking about the My Journey, a group by Planet EGOBN, which is the spinoff of the Extraordinary Journey of a Black Nerd group, right? So I put it in both those groups normally, and they don't like for you to be promoting podcasts and stuff like that in there. So I really got to make it covert, like, hey y'all, just wondering for no reason at all, Um, this is what I want to know, and I got so many responses for
Yeah,
days
this
and
is
days.
hard.
Yeah, and so I just took the ones that had the most responses and we narrowed it down to like 15. So that's not even like a small, like it was a lot of options. And so
Mhm.
then we like, okay, now rank your top five from there. And that's when we send out the survey. And so we'll probably do something similar to this week, but we have to figure out a better way of kind of getting all this stuff consolidated to where we get a strong top five. Because I think maybe because the comedies, I mean, Black folks is really known for comedies. I think that
Mhm.
maybe because the comedies are so strong, it's really hard to pick a standout,
Yeah.
but amongst the group.
Yeah, I think
So
there's a standout, but the thing is, it's rounding out the top five and the
right.
rest of them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a game of inches in there. Um,
Yes.
so so again, if you like what we're doing here, if you have any feedback, you feel free to use it, leave it in our YouTube comments. Feel free to leave us reviews on recapkickback.com, or you can leave on Apple or Spotify, 5-star reviews and stuff, 5-star ratings. In the Facebook group, recapkickback.com/Facebook. You can also send us a DM. You can email us. All the ways to contact us and let us know what you think. But remember, be nice, because I'm an artist. We are sensitive about our shit. Okay. So that said, Mari, with us today, I'm pleased to introduce the Kickback audience to a Black movie expert, I would say. Listeners of Nothing But Netflix podcast may have had the pleasure of hearing his takes on TV and movies before when we covered You People and They Clone Tyrone. So now he's back to assist with a topic he knows too well in Black comedies. It's my boy, Tyrone. Tyrone, what's good?
What is good? I am happy to be here, especially about comedies. This is what I grew up on. Like in my family, if you didn't Joan on or know how to get Joan back quickly, then you might get kicked out the family. You might get denounced. And I'm sure
Mhm.
one of the movies that we're going to talk about has denouncing involved in it, actually. But no, I'm excited about this opportunity, man. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk
Ty,
live
when you
about
say
comedy.
when you say Joan, Ty, I hate to interrupt you, but you gotta, we got some listeners. You gotta give us the give us the Urban Dictionary definition of when you say Joan on. What are you saying?
I am talking about joking on. And actually, you know what? The fact that I have to define that is why everybody should be an early adopter. Like, don't be a follower, because you learn some new stuff outside of just the black stuff that we're talking about. It's also the lingo as a part of it as well. And Joan means to joke on, to talk junk about. It's
But
basically
to
what
high
Joan means.
side, to SCO, to
Yeah.
yeah. Look,
Yeah.
we do that here. We definitely do that here. Ty, also, could you give people like your background of like how you end up here? I mean, I know you're a podcaster. Everybody should know you as like my best friend, but what else do you do that makes you such an expert on this?
So I think I'm an expert on this because I grew up in a strong black family, and honestly, that's the only credentials that I need to give
Yeah.
you.
Hey, relatable content.
The biggest thing is like I'm the youngest of three. Like my brothers are 7 and 10 years older than me. They're bigger than me and funnier than me and taller than me and all of that. And so I was the little pipsqueak. I was the little one that was picked on. And so if I ain't learned how to kind of jab back, then it wasn't no win for me. Like I'll be a depressed little guy. So at this point, I had to learn how to jab back, and comedies was probably the top thing that taught me how to jab back.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so before we get into the rankings, I do want to read some of the feedback that we got. Mari, this actually, I'm directing this question at you. So this is
Uh-oh.
from Dr. Miriam McCullum.
Mhm.
Big supporter of you and me in the past, and
Mhm.
she has a question, and it has nothing to do with the rankings. It says, "Hi, would you do what HBO did and throw House of the Dragons in their Black Voices list? Yes, there's a Black family there, but do you consider that a show to go in that category? I thought of you because of your podcast. The header is Black Voices on the HBO Max app, but in there is the picture of of the Black family, the Black Targaryens, Mari? Is it that what
No,
it is?
the Valerians. The
The Black
Valerians.
Valerians, yeah. So
Yeah.
does that count? Does that now count as a Black show, Mari? I guess that's our question here.
No, it doesn't. But I love kudos to House of the Dragon for the diversity. I remember
Yeah.
when it was announced,
Sounds cool.
when it was announced initially about the cast, like the Valerians being Black, and when the show started, I was like, this is amazing, because again, it's a fictional fantasy world. If they turn one family Black, it's not going to kill you. And the Valerians were one of the best parts of the first season. Now, again, does it count as Black voices? I don't think so, because they are not the main characters. They do have a strong presence, but nothing. The greatness about them is their characters are not wrapped up in their Blackness. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what you want when you're diversity, especially within a fantasy realm where everything is made up. You don't necessarily want all of their character presentation to just be like, we're the Black family. They you know what I'm saying? Like they have they of course have some solid story arcs and story buildings about being like the seconds to the Targaryens, because they also have that blood. And they are like some of the second richest families and stuff like that, but nothing about their presentation is like, oh, our Blackness is what defines us. So I just don't think it goes into that category for Black voices, but you love to see it. So
Yeah. Keep putting us on the front page. But
yeah.
also, yeah, I don't know if it counts as what is it? Visions of Black stories told through timelines of Blackness or something like that from HBO. I don't know. This just doesn't fit the mold, but I think they just needed a big name and face to go there for the picture, you know?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
he got dreads. Don't they count?
He do
Yeah.
have locks. That's
He
true.
got dreads.
They did their big one with that. I love that the Valerians are Black. Like, it's so cool, and it helps visualize a lot of stuff that comes down the pike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was hated
Okay.
on
Mhm.
so heavily, like
Mhm.
heavily when that was announced, and then when, like she said, when the show started. So I'm excited about the fact that they're kind of putting that on the front face, regardless of the hate that it received.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it feels a little cheap. It's like, we got a Black friend. Look, it's in there. I promise. So yeah, it's interesting to see it like that. But yeah, thank you, Dr. Maryam, for obviously your feedback and for being a supportive listener. But
Yes. Thank you for the
yes,
question.
but we do have to get into the rankings, y'all. So here it is. This is our top 5 greatest Black comedies, and I am so interested to figure out what exactly we're about to come across here. So Mari, if you could, let us know what our number 5 on our list will be today.
Okay. First off, I also just want to give a shout out slash cuss my husband out because we decided to do our comedy list at the same time and then reveal it to each other. And he had the audacity to come out of his mouth and say, I know your list is going to be stupid. I bet you're going to have Baps at number 2 or something like that. And the anger that I felt because he was absolutely right, I wanted to get up and walk away. Yes, I say all that to say that the number 5 literally just edged in there. Like I refreshed and it just knocked this thing out. Sister Act 2 is number 5. Like,
Wow.
I have so many thoughts because first off, somebody, the person who created the list this week,
That's me.
originally just put Sister Act. And
Y'all
so
know
I
which
was
one
like,
I meant. I meant the black one.
but you didn't put it. So when I did the survey, I was like, did he say Sister Act or Sister Act 2? I was like, should I put the series? I was like, but is that cheating? And then once I clarified, I was like, Sister Act 2. I was like, okay, well, I don't know how many responses we had gotten after that. But
Now see here. Hold on. You
yes,
got the
sir.
list for me. You saw the word Sister Act, and you didn't immediately assume I meant Sister Act 2. Then you
Right,
made
because there's
the
an actual
survey.
Sister Act.
But nobody you know what I'm talking about, Mari. Stop playing. So nobody counts Sister Act 1. Sister Act 2 is the black one. And
It
you
is.
made the list knowing that Sister Act 2 was
You
the black one.
you wanted to take point on making the list this week. So I just
I
went with
didn't
what
make
you
the survey.
said.
Oh my God.
I
Mari,
took what you said and put it on here. Doesn't matter.
that's
Sister
fine.
Act 2 is top 5, which I'm actually glad that it sneaks into the top 5 here, considering what it knocked out.
That's what I was going to ask. Can we know who it knocked out, or is
Yeah.
that later?
No, I mean I can tell you right now.
You can tell us now.
It knocked out Harlem Nights, and we've already
Okay,
had a Harlem
I'm cool with that.
debacle.
I'm cool
We've
with
already had the debacle, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Mari, we did get some feedback about Harlem Nights.
we did. Yes,
Yeah. People were saying, hey, y'all too hard on Harlem Nights. Y'all not giving it what it deserves. I was
we
like, I
put it in
mean,
the wrong thing. I'm not even
Where
about
did
to
y'all
say
put
that.
it
Yeah.
somehow slipped into the dramas list.
It slipped into the dramas list because I accidentally thought it was something else, and it was a whole thing. But it's neither here nor there.
The feedback, Mari, was that even if it's dramatic enough to where it should have been in the top 5, like people were like really stumping for it regardless. So I'm very surprised that it didn't make the top 5 comedies.
It like I said, it was in here and then it just got bumped out. But Sister Act 2, I think does belong here. I love Sister Act 2. We come back with a story of Sister Mary Clarence. Is the plot really,
No.
really hitting on why she's back in the habit? No. But are we glad that she's now educating inner city youth? Hell yeah. Is Lauryn Hill in there? Yes. Is the amazing Shirley Ralph in here? Amazing. Do we get some bomb songs throughout the movie and at the end? Yes. Is this a comedy? Yes.
What I would say, what else could it really be? Because there's like no drama in this movie.
Tyrone, what are your thoughts?
There's a little drama between the mama and Lauryn Hill and Sister Mary Clarence. There's a little drama in there, but
she don't want her baby to sing. I'm
okay with being in the top 5, but it's not the most comedic. And this is where the subjectivity of comedy really comes into play because it has spurts of comedy mixed in an actual story. Like part of our top list that's in here has no story. It's just straight comedy, right? And then we've got these little spurts in there. And I appreciate having comedy in the mixture of story. I think that's a harder thing to do than to have just straight comedy. So I appreciate the art of it being in the top 5 for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think
Go ahead.
Sorry, Chappelle. I was just gonna say, I think again, comedies are so. This will probably be our most contentious list. Like I
Mhm.
can just imagine the comments we're gonna get here because again, like I just demonstrated between me and my husband, like people will scrap over their favorite comedies because it just hits different than the biopics and the dramas. It's like you go to comedies for something you enjoy. It makes you laugh. 9 times out of 10, it's nostalgic, and people feel like there are right and wrong answers to it more than I think any other category. So I'm so glad we're gonna be like in the thick of it talking about it.
So then, question for y'all then: do y'all have a nostalgic moment attached to Sister Act 2? I definitely do.
I mean, I feel like we were all young enough to
I
where
just
that
loved
movie
it.
is
Yeah.
like in our memories forever.
Yeah.
I think of like Lauryn Hill singing, and I
Mm.
think of the big song at the end, and I think of there are several moments where it's just kind of like those things just stick out. But I don't think I have a like life moment that I tie back to Sister Act 2. What's yours,
Exactly.
Ty?
Mine is like, so I had my mama take the survey as well, and she texted me
Nice.
back and she was like, like 3 of these movies I didn't even know what the hell they were. And I was like,
She's
I
lucky that
get
was
it.
only 3 that she didn't
Right. I
know.
know, right? But Sister Act 2 is like one of her favorites
Mhm.
of all time. So we used to watch it together all the time because of that. So if on this list, if there was any movie that I can attach me and my mama to, it's Sister Act 2. Like maybe some other ones that are on here that we'll talk about a little bit later on, possibly.
Mhm.
But Sister Act 2 is high, number 1 on that list for sure. That I can say
Gotcha.
me and my mom. Yeah.
Well, I have a story about Sister Act 2 that's not nostalgic at all. I was working at my last job, and my coworker, he's like, I went and saw the most interesting movie. He's a white man. He said, I went and saw the most interesting movie this weekend. It was Sister Act 2. And I said, I love Sister Act 2. He said, it was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, like, what?
What?
Yeah,
What did he not like about it?
it's cultural. There's no plot. The plot of this movie is that Sister Mary Clarence is hiding out at the convent or and then decides that she's going to be teaching the school, to do choir, and that if they don't win the big choir contest, the dean of the school gets to retire.
And funding, like they lose funding.
But he doesn't want to work there anymore. The
Right.
man doesn't want to work there, and so they win. They're like, "Yes, you get the program back." He's
and
like,
he gets mad. Yeah,
he's like, "I don't want to do this anymore." Like that's the entire movie.
Again, we don't need to think about the plot. This is not.
Yeah, but again, I loved it regardless.
That's
And that's
so
another thing
funny.
about these comedies. They ain't got to be good movies. They just got to be funny. And so Sister Act 2 obviously is funny enough to end up in our top 5 list, starring Whoopi Goldberg, the GOAT, EGOT herself, Shirley Ralph, as Mari said, Lauryn Hill, as we talked about, she learns Mary had a little lamb in this movie. That's a good moment. But also you get like a strong, some supporting. Yeah, one of them things, right? She doesn't know any of the songs. She's new here. And neither am I. Look, apparently neither do I. But listen, Lauryn Hill comes in, and this is one of, I guess, her screen debut, maybe, where we find out that she's a actress as well. And Lauryn Hill goes on to be a multiple Grammy winner and a legend in hip hop. So humble beginnings, but it starts here. Sister Act 2. Like I'm looking at the critic scores, 18%. They're not loving it. Nobody liked this movie but black folk. I'm just saying.
I don't understand.
Again,
like you
I
said.
think it's cultural. Yeah, 18% approval rating based on 38 reviews, 3.6 out of 10 rating average. But again, it's not for you to tell us if we like it because we just told you we like it, and that's number 5 on our list. So Mari, I know that it plummeted from where you had it. So I want to know what is above Sister Act 2. If you could tell us what is number 4 on our list.
Okay. Sorry, I was looking at my top 5. Sister Act is actually not in my top 5.
Oh, you're the problem.
Well,
it's not in my top 5.
It's not in my top 5 either. But somehow.
So we're all the problem.
I knew my top 5 wasn't going to be the top 5 that everybody chose, so I wasn't worried.
So number 4, like this felt like a sneak to me. Number 4, even though it's one of it, like I'm gonna say it's one of my favorite movies, but it also was not in my top 5. but like Ty said, I do specifically have a lot of anecdotes connected to this movie. Number 4 is White Chicks.
What?
E- ex- right, exactly. Sean and Marlon Wayans uh do whiteface, which
Which is
I don't
not a
know how
thing.
it's not a thing. I'm
It's not a
perfectly fine with it.
yeah.
But when this movie came out, I was in high school. I want to say I was in like I was a sophomore or something, like either sophomore or freshman in high school. This movie was so quotable. Like
Mm.
just we would we were just quoting this movie all up and down the playground and during track practice, softball practice. Like this movie was hilarious. Like I'm so freaking pissed. And to this day, if anybody says I'm gonna write a letter, I just break out laughing. You know what I'm saying? But Chappelle, technically, does this count as a black movie?
I think so. And here's why. Of course, we
Mhm.
have our leads in Sean and Marlon Wayans, but it's also directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans. We know how the
This is
Wayans
true.
brothers, the Wayans family gets down. If it's
Mhm.
one of them, it's all of them, or as
Yep.
many as they can fit in there. And so, yeah, it has to count. It's an iconic movie. It's hilarious. And
It's
like you
so
said,
funny.
and it is, like you said, probably the most quotable movie on this
It
list.
is.
And I haven't, I mean, you want to talk about I'm so freaking pissed. I'm gonna write a letter.
Yeah.
I
A
can
thousand
taste
miles.
a beautiful chocolate man. What is it? I can taste the leather. Um, um, and then and then of course the most iconic
Oh,
song to ever pop into a movie, Vanessa
yeah.
Carlton's "A Thousand Miles"
Yes.
comes in,
The
and
only reason black people know that song.
the
I'm
Know
only
that
dead
reason
song.
serious.
black
That's
people know
right.
that song, because Vanessa Carlton has some hits, but she will
She
never have a
does
bigger hit
lots of
than
hits.
that song because
Mhm.
of this particular movie. We also get
Mhm.
Terry Crews in this movie, The Deception, what do you mean you're not white? That kind of thing. This movie is
Beautiful.
crazy. It's so funny.
It is
Um,
so hilarious.
it
It's
was
so
not in my top.
wrong.
It's not in my top 5 because I think it's
Nope.
probably one of the funnier movies on here, but it's not the
Yes.
blackest movie on here. So I think my top 5 is probably blacker than
So
this
see, I
movie.
got a bone to pick with that because part of my bone to pick with that is the fact that it's number 2 on my top 5 list.
Ooh.
Mm.
Crazy, right? But also, right, this is the opposite of what we was talking about with the HBO thing, in that you say black voices. Well, black voices happen behind the camera. They start behind the
That's
cameras before
true.
they get on camera, and
Mhm.
that's why I really appreciate something like this. Now, granted, would I have liked to see it in a situation like Harlem Nights, what we talked about, where it's black
Mhm.
voices behind the camera and on camera all over
That's
the place?
true. Mhm.
Sure. But it does fit the need of black comedies for me because of that. And like you said, I think it's like the second most quotable movie on the
Mhm.
list for me. But this is me and my wife's favorite movie to watch. And
It's so
I think
funny.
the longevity of it is what has the attachment for me. This
Mhm.
movie came out so, like you said, you was in high school, Mari. Same thing for me.
Mhm.
It came out so long ago, and I can watch it now and still
Yeah,
laugh at
still
Still.
funny.
Mhm.
every
Still
single
funny.
part, and it's not cringy or anything like that. And I think the juxtaposition between this and Sister Act 2, right? Sister Act 2, and if y'all don't know this about black people, with Sister Act 2, you got to make parts that are not supposed to be funny, funny. Like
Yeah.
when they sing, Lord,
Mhm.
we adore thee. Like that's not supposed to be funny, but you make it funny. But
Yeah.
white chicks, you don't have to make parts funny. It's
Yeah.
just funny. And that's
It's like,
why I
move,
love
bitch.
it. Only in America. Like,
Your mother's so dumb. She went to Dr. Dre for a pap smear. Like,
It's so good. The premise, we have these two socialites. They're like getting death threats. So let's take the agents that are supposed to be protecting them, put them in white face makeup. I keep saying it. It's so funny.
it's not a
But like
thing.
it's not a thing, I know, but that's what people call it nowadays. And then have them pretend to be them. It was just hilarious. And then the cast around them, the girl who played Debbie in Dexter, I can't remember her real name.
Mhm.
One of the Phillips lady, they're just everybody was just so hilarious in this movie, and it truly does like stand the test of time. But I just want to like really hammer this home that like when we ask you guys to do the survey, when you're ranking them and you rank them like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of course, the higher rankings get higher scores and stuff like that. So, and then unranked things get no score. So that's why we always say we'd rather you unrank them, you like leave things unranked than to rank something low that you haven't seen.
Yeah.
And so like number 5 and number 4, like their score is like in the 20s. And then there's like a 20-point jump to the third. And then there's a 20-point jump to the first. Like that's how, you see what I'm saying? That's how like disparate the results are. Like so many people love the first 3 movies, and then everything after that is just so close with 20 points behind the leads, like 20 and 40 points behind the leads.
Mari,
So no
I'd
throwaway
argue.
votes.
Yeah.
No burn
I'd
vote.
argue, yeah, don't burn your vote. Don't burn your vote. I'd argue that this is the funniest movie on the list. I like it might not be my favorite movie of them all.
Very close to it.
As far as like me dying laughing, this is a contender for number 1 of just every time you watch it, you are going to scream. You know, it's just one of those movies. So yeah, shout out to Sean and Marlon for doing the things. Not the Sean and Marlon that I would have thought made it into the top 5, but you know, maybe there's still room for that to come. Mari, let's move on. What is number 3 on our list?
Mari over here burning up.
Number 3. That's what I'm saying. I'm getting so mad. I'm like, who is ranking these things? But it's like, it's not fair to do that because again, we're all going to have different tastes. Number 3 is Life. And
hey,
let me just tell you, I understand like the nuance of Life. I understand people love Life. Me personally, I think it's like on the lowest end of my list because I personally just could never get past the part that these 2 men were unjustly imprisoned for life because of racial discrimination. Like when I tell you, when I seen this movie, I was so sad from the beginning that none of the jokes landed for me because I just could not. My whole thought process is they're not supposed to be here. They're not supposed to be also witnessing tragic things and making these tragic things funny. So I understand Life. I get the importance behind it. I think the performances were, of course, amazing between Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, who I believe aren't they about to be like family?
I think
they are family.
His daughter and her son, or vice versa, something like that.
Yeah. It is a great movie, but it is just I cannot have it high on a comedy list because my soul hurts so much. Am I being Ty? Am I being too sensitive here?
I don't think you're being too sensitive because that's actually the very same reason why my wife doesn't watch this movie is for that exact same reason. So you're not alone in that aspect. I don't think you're alone in the aspect of it being at the bottom of the list. It's just not there for me. It's in the middle of the list. It's not in my top 5. And that's because I'm a huge Eddie Murphy fan. I actually got a poster of him on my wall behind me. I'm a huge Martin Lawrence fan. And I went to the movies to see this with my big cousin on the first night it was released, and it was stanking with all type of brute cologne and all of that jazz in that movie theater, right? So there's a lot of nostalgia in it for me, but there is a dry spell in the movie where it got real serious and there was nothing funny about it. Once the toe went in the bottle, that was it. Like it was not funny after that. It was done. And then also, I just got a bone to pick with the fact that they chose that City High School. That City High song in credits for the movie because it had nothing to do with the movie other than the fact that it said Life in it. That's it.
And an actor from Sister Act 2 was a part of that group. Look at that.
Yeah. Look at that energy. Look, I hear y'all. I love Life. I think it's hilarious. I think that it rarely gets much funnier than Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy on the screen at the same time with such a star-studded cast. For me, this feels so real because Black folk will laugh their way through some trauma in a heartbeat. This is why people love the movie, because it is a sad movie. It is a miserable movie. But when I tell you it is hilarious and it makes the medicine go down. It makes this movie palatable because if you take out the comedy, I'm never watching this movie because it's awful. You know what I'm saying? Even the fact that not to spoil the movie, but they get life, but they might not spend their whole life there. You know, that
Damn
doesn't
near
work for
most.
me. Yeah, that doesn't work for me if it's not a comedy. It just doesn't. The NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Motion Picture in 2000. You know, it's just what it is. It was even nominated for an Academy Award for Best Makeup. You know, we're not gonna get many Academy Award nominated comedies, black comedies as that is. So you know, we have to, we have to give the accolades when we can get them. But for me, it's hilarious. I still to this day say "Out of Pappy." Don't ask me
Jangling,
for my
jangling.
corn. Yeah, don't ask me for my cornbread. There's gonna be some consequences and repercussions. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are so many good lines in this movie. I'm sorry, it's hilarious. And honestly, I'm looking at the list. It's probably the most well-told story. I think life is a beginning to end story where you know where they started, you know the sad, the highs, the lows, the sad, the in between. You laugh, you could cry watching life, and still come out of the movie thinking that was hilarious. And so I think that just for me, yeah, yeah, just for me, that totally works.
And was this like loosely based on a true story? I was trying to
I mean,
look it up to
probably based
see.
on a bunch of true stories, honestly. Don't you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
We didn't even
honestly.
gotta
But
look that
yeah,
one up, Mari. I mean, we can though.
yeah.
I
I was
know.
saying we could just say that it's probably just like anecdotal that we know this stuff be happening. But look at the
Yeah.
cast. Heavy D is in this movie. Sanaa Lathan is in this movie. Miguel A. Nunez, Bernie Mac, Eddie Murphy, Obaba Batonde, Martin Lawrence, like boom, 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 boom. Everybody's in this. Guy Tori's in this movie. Bokeem Woodbine, who people act like they don't know exists until they see him and they're like, evil Dave Chappelle, that guy.
Rude.
Anthony Anderson. You know, the list goes on. Rick James is in this movie. You know what I'm saying? It don't get no blacker. So I'm just saying, hilarious movie with a great story. I'm not shocked that it's in top 5, but I agree with y'all. Not my top 5.
But you know that it was so dark originally that they had to add the ending scene onto
To
it. Like
fix it.
test audiences thought it was too dark. So they had to add the scene where it implies that they escaped and were at a baseball game or whatever.
Break glass for City High to save the day, you know?
Who was the test audience? Because we get into this all the time. Like, people don't want to know what the real story
Mhm.
typically ends like, and so they got to have a happy ending at the end. We need to know what the real stuff is at times. And I
Mhm.
mean, maybe the test audience wasn't, of
I
our
mean,
particular
to
Complexion.
be
Yeah, yeah.
fair, even with the happy ending, y'all like not my Black History Month, not my top 5. So I'm just saying, I don't think anybody would have been okay with this ending in a sad way.
They were like 84. That's not as happy as we want it
That's
to
not
be.
Like
exactly.
the test audience was like, I mean, you can make it a little bit better. And they're like, okay, we'll let them out 60 years later. That works, right? Y'all good with that?
They had a heart attack on the way
65.
out of New York Yankee Stadium. Like, what?
Yeah, man, tough, but also solid comedic movie, right? So
Oh yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
not shocked. It definitely deserves to be on the list and it deserves to be high up. But again, your mileage may vary on Black trauma in your comedies. Mari,
Mhm.
what are we up to? Number 3, number 2,
Number 2.
number 2.
Number 2 shouldn't come to much of a surprise to anybody. I think this top 2 is kind of like fighting for supremacy. Um, Number 2 is Friday. Friday.
You
I
know,
mean,
I'm starting to feel some type of way because my top 5 and this top 5, they not the same people. These are
I'm te
not.
I'm
I,
telling
we got
you,
2
this is
different
why
surveys.
I'm frustrated over here.
Yeah,
I
2
got a
different
few missing. You
surveys.
know what number 1 is, but I got a few missing from my top 5 for sure.
That's
I know what number
why I'm over here
now.
fuming.
Yeah, I know what number 1 is now, but I mean,
Yeah.
now a second ago I did it because like now I'm very confused. Listen, Friday, hilarious movie, classic Black story. Ty, I have a feeling you've seen this movie a couple times.
Yeah. Friday that's it. You know what I like probably the most about Friday is that it told a hood story without the big, like, at the time we had Boys in the Hood,
Mhm.
Menace to Society. So it was
Mhm.
really hard hitting stories. This
Hardcore.
was able to to tell a hood type of story without the drama of death behind it.
Yeah, the
But it
violence.
was still like, hey, we got a bully, we got this, we got that, and this and the third. And you know, with this being like Ice Cube's, and I don't know if it was written fully by him or directed fully by him or anything like that, but this was his like entry into this type into cinema. I thought it
Mhm.
was really, really solid because of that. And it was, and he put a lot of people on, which I like about it too, like the Chris Tuckers, right? You know, coming off of
Mhm.
Def Comedy Jam. This was an opportunity for him to kind of show his face and he shined through it. So that's what I appreciated about it. And then I even went to LA recently and went down the street and saw Miss Parker's
Oh wow.
house and saw all of these different locations and with my kids as well because they've seen the movie. So dope experience for me. Definitely in my top 5. I appreciate it being at top 2.
Yeah, I think Friday is so good. As you're sitting here talking, I'm thinking of all of the amazing like moments throughout it. The fact that it has what 20, 40 plus years later, I don't know,
Mhm.
has crossed over to people using slang from it where they no longer know the origin of it. It points to a lasting effect on our culture.
Yeah,
You
Mari,
know,
air it
once
out.
once they
Don't
start
tiptoe around it.
Hey, Mari.
once
You
they
got
start feeling the
no. Don't
culture,
dance
it's
around it, Mari.
I'm not
Don't dance
dancing around.
around it. We just came
Like,
off of Survivor season about it
please,
too.
like, bye, Felicia. Like, I need you guys to understand. It's just not telling a person to go away. Like, there's the crackhead connotations to it. Like, it's so many different connotations to that, and people don't know, and the whites are taking it and they're using it in ads for stuff. It's just like I love Friday though. It is such a really good movie. It John Witherspoon is at his absolute best here. Everybody's like, don't go there for another 35, 45 minutes. Always,
Yeah.
always. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just classic. It is classic black comedy. How you get fired on your day off, Chappelle?
Look, it happens. Okay, it happens. As far as I'm concerned, Friday is too low. But I actually rank Friday number 3 on my list. So it is the only
Mm,
one of my top
yeah.
5 that is in the popular top 5. And now I'm kicking myself because I should have ranked it number 1 to give it a little bump. But yeah, I love this movie. I love this movie. I
Yeah.
love the movie so much. Like you said, Ice Cube this is like his entry into writing for this film. Ice Cube and DJ Pooh were looking at the hood movies that Ty was talking about, South Central, Menace to Society, Don't Be a
Mm.
Menace, and saying this is the hood, yes, but there's also a less violent and menacing part of the hood, and they start to draw
Mhm.
on their own personal experiences to make this movie, and so that's where they come up with the plot. So this is like people like basically Ice Cube's mind is saying, okay, who are the people that I know from the hood, right? And so he tries to like build this cast around those people, and he gives us the stars: Chris Tucker, who we will see go on and do amazing things. Starting here as Smokey,
Oh,
yeah, Nia Long.
sorry.
Uh,
Speaking of which, I also got a earful of why Rush Hour wasn't on this list, or at least Rush Hour 2.
Rush Hour. First of all, let me be very clear. We trying to keep this positive here, but I don't want to have to get on here and talk about how racist the movie is at some points. You know, like if you go back and watch Rush Hour, some of them jokes is just tasteless. Okay, it was funny in the moment. It was funny in the bubble. There are definitely movies that age well. I implore you to go watch it again and tell me that you would say any things out loud in 2024. That's all I'm
That's
saying.
hilarious. That's a great
Um,
point.
yeah, all of it is racist. All of it. All of it. And so anyway,
Ty.
moving on.
Yeah, sorry, keep
uh,
going. Uh-huh.
yeah, Regina
Right.
King. Regina King, who
Yeah,
will go
Regina
on to
King.
be Oscar nominated. Regina King. John Witherspoon, Bernie Mac. You
Mm.
know, this is no slouch of a cast. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, Friday is a tale as old as time. We got Craig, who got fired on his days off. He's been smoking with the local drug dealer, Smokey. They come across a bully. He's been taking their money. There's a crackhead, Felicia. You know, there's Debbie that's there as well. There's a big old fight at the end. We don't use guns. We use this. And then
Mhm.
we get a happy ending. And also 2 sequels and a 3rd sequel that everybody has been waiting for ever?
There's another sequel coming out.
Did we ever get the
They've been
last
talking
Friday
about
that
it
happened?
so long. They've been talking
I
about it
don't
for
think
so
we got it.
long, and
They've been
there's
playing in
back
our
and
faces.
forth with Chris Tucker, and there's rumors out there that Chris Tucker would do it if DC Young Fly did it or something like that.
Oh.
Like it's the whole thing. I don't know. It's kind of messy, and I don't know if the story can be told in a great way because I think what they're trying to do is bring in Smokey and Mike Epps' character in on the same movie to make it kind of like a culmination of it all. And I don't know how that necessarily fits in. They got to really write it well. And then of course, Smokey doesn't Smokey. Chris Tucker doesn't want to play this type of character. So there has to be some sort of rehabilitation for Smokey or something involved.
Smokey went to rehab. No, hold on. We're not gonna make no excuses for them. They told me Smokey went to rehab, and that's why he wasn't in next Friday. So make it make sense, Chris Tucker. We know you've been rehabilitated. Show up in a suit. I don't care. We need last Friday. We've been waiting forever, Ty. This movie came out in '96.
This is a point. I'm glad you said this because this was kind of a point that I wanted to make about Friday is we will never get another movie like this. Here's why. This is pre-YouTube, pre-Instagram, pre-streaming platforms where if you're a young comedic artist that you have a platform already made and available to you to get out to the masses, this was all pre that. So all you had was people that only was known if you was really, really deep into comedy. Like even John Witherspoon, obviously he had been on other movies and things like that. Small time. He's even been on a TV show before this, but he wasn't as well known. Chris Tucker wasn't as well known outside of Def Comedy Jam. Bernie Mac wasn't as well known. And so you had all of these people who we knew had comedic value on a low budget join this movie and make it shine. I don't know where you can get that from. And even like the Chris Tucker talk about that third sequel, a lot of it has to do with money. So I don't even know at this point if I want the third sequel. I just wanted to end with the Christmas one.
Yeah. Look, no disrespect to this cast, but they're not gonna be here forever. We have lost so many people from the initial cast and the credits of Friday. We've lost John Witherspoon. We've lost Bernie Mac. We've lost Yvette Wilson. We've lost Anthony Johnson. We are losing recipes, y'all. So if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right.
Tiny.
And Tiny. How you gonna have Friday without Debo? So I mean, Todd's probably making a good point that we maybe don't need to do this. But at the same time, this is what happened when you drag this out so long. I don't think we're ever going to get it. I think people are going to be clamoring for a last Friday forever. And if they do get one, it's going to be one of those knockoff, like, side gig, straight to DVD type situations. You know what I'm saying? So Tubi, look out on Tubi for last Friday when it finally drops. But yeah, I can't say enough about it. One of my favorite comedies of all time. Mari, that was number 2.
Yeah, that was number 2. So I guess we all clearly know what number 1 is. Number 1, of course, with again the most votes. Friday still it still like double the amount of votes that Friday had. Coming to America.
Look, this movie is the reason why I knew that Tyrone should be our special guest for this episode, because I don't think I could trust anybody in the world aside from Eddie Murphy to talk about this movie and anything Eddie Murphy has done than Tyrone. So Tyrone, take it away. Tell us about Coming to America and why it is our number 1 of the top 5 greatest Black comedies of all time.
Coming to America, man, is so much, and I hope I can break it down in a succinct way. But Coming to America, we've got the young Prince Akeem, who is going to be forced to wed to princess of another castle or whatever the hell it is, right? And he doesn't want to do that, right? He doesn't want to follow the tradition of the African kingdom of Zamunda. And so him and his wonderful friend Simi, played by Arsenio Hall, decide to go to America to find his queen. And they foolishly think that Queens, New York is a lavish place because it's named after Queens, but quickly find out it is the hood. It is below the poverty line. So they go there. And the great thing about them going to Queens, though, is that, typically during this time in the late 80s, if you are in the hood, you surrounded by black people, and he wants to marry a queen, right? He wants to marry a black queen. So he does find his way into a convention center where he learns about McDowell's, which is not the Golden Arches, is the Golden Arcs. And he finds the lovely daughter of the owner of McDowell's as his love interest, finds himself in some trouble with the sister, finds himself in some trouble with the son of the owner of Soul Glow, but finds his way through that, through all of the drama, while his father gets very impatient and brings his wonderful, lovely self to America, but then finds his way over that and marries the lovely Lisa.
So why do you like the movie, Ty?
Right.
I think our
All of
listeners
that.
know. Yeah, I was say, I think our listeners know the plot to Coming to America. They ranked it number one.
Number one.
Tell us, Ty, why this movie? Why is this number one?
So multiple reasons, right? It is, in my opinion, the most quotable of the list over White Chicks. Additionally, you have artistry involved. You have multiple characters played by mainly Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy throughout the whole experience, and every single character has a quote that you can say it at any point, and then somebody would just jump off their seats and know exactly what you're talking about. Along with that, you got a solid and a decent story that has a lot of black actors and black characters involved in it. And so all of those reasons, plus it being in the late 80s, this being like one of the first mainstream type of movies for this to happen with, I think are the main reasons why this is number one on the list.
Mari, was Coming to America your number one movie?
It wasn't my number one movie, but it was three. It was three. It's just, yeah. It was my number one, but I think I didn't put it number one because I'm like, oh, it's
knew everybody.
Come to me, and everybody's gonna put
Yeah.
And at least my number one movie, I feel it's literally one of my favorite comedic movies of all time. I've watched it so many times. So, Coming to America, though, it's so great. A movie that anytime it's on, I will turn it on. I don't care what part it's on. I'm gonna watch it. A movie that every time I listen to a specific Whitney Houston song, I can't help but bust out laughing. A movie where I will randomly just yell "sexual chocolate," y'all. Sexual chocolate. A movie that was literally just referenced to me by somebody a week ago because they had too much hair grease in their head. Like, it is an iconic movie, and it deserves number one. It is number one. Like, even the sequel wasn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? After like 20 plus years or whatever. Coming to America, this is the one thing I was like, okay, yes. Like, this is the one where I was like, this makes sense. Everything else, well, not everything else, but some of the other top five, I was like, okay, I don't know. But Coming to America is great. Chappelle, what's your favorite quote from Coming to America?
My name is Peaches, and I'm the best. I'm a DJ. To my brother. No, you can't pick just one. Let your soul glow. Let it shine through. I'm not even gonna try to sing. I'm your queen. She is your queen. Like, I'm not even gonna try it. Look. It's a great movie. Obviously, it's damn near unanimous here. Everybody knows that Coming to America was going to be number one. When I released the list, I was really like, okay, I gotta really bump some of mine up to the top because I know they're not going to they're never going to dethrone Coming to America. It's Eddie Murphy at his best. It's why he gets to play 5 different people throughout the film. Arsenio Hall playing 4 different people throughout the film. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why. Also, amazing cast. We always talk about it. James Earl Jones as the Good King himself. John Amos is in this movie as well. I just love it so much. I think you're right. I think that you watch this movie no matter what part it's on, and you just watch it, and you watch it to the end, and you go on about your day because you have to watch Coming to America when it's on because it's just a good, funny movie. 2 Academy Award nominations, I believe. I think potentially a win. No, they were just nominated for Best Costume Design and Best Makeup for Rick Baker. Rick Baker doing the things. if you have not seen Coming to America, what are you waiting for? Please go check out this movie. We talked about Eddie Murphy with Bryce earlier last week. We're talking about him here again. This man is an icon. The people are saying we just need to dedicate an episode to Eddie Murphy, and that might just have to come soon.
We got a lot of that. We did.
Oh, we can do that. We can do that.
Yeah.
When the end post credit scene is a comedic moment that everybody just taste the soup. When that is a post credit scene.
Uh-huh.
I also like
that is number one on any list. I'm sorry. Like, clear.
No.
So
anytime somebody walks in with like their Easter suit on, like, is that velvet? I do it daily.
No, I gotta tell a quick story. So first of all, this is the first movie that I learned front to back, every single word front to back, right? So a quick story. It was my first Vegas trip. And I live in South Carolina. We had to drive to Charlotte, North Carolina, in order to fly out because it was cheaper flights. I was young. All right. So on the way, we stopped at a Wendy's. And when I tell you there was Louis Anderson at the dang register, and the first thing I said, he looked like him. He looked like him. He wasn't actually him, but he looked like him. And this is when I say we were driving to Charlotte, so this was like the first part of the trip, and it made the rest of the trip the best thing ever. Soon as I saw Louis Anderson at the dang register, I said, "Just 2 years, huh?" And everybody started laughing. I started saying the whole line. Now I'm washing lettuce. In 2 years, I'll be assistant manager.
Everybody was looking at you like, "Please leave me alone."
That great.
Yeah, you harassing that gentleman who is not Louis Anderson. Because he looked like he might be working at McDowell's, but instead at Wendy's. Okay, I see it. I see the vision, Ty. It makes sense.
Not
yeah.
legit.
You want me to not harass this man? Nah. Listen, again, the number one pick with a bullet. I don't think anybody's gonna deny that. There's obviously some snubs from our top 5, as we should say. Mari, let's talk about the other things on our list. What came in at number 6? Well, we already did number 6, right?
Yeah, it was Harlem Nights.
Yeah, let's talk about number 7.
Give me all your fire, Mari. I'm gonna be upset.
Because these are Mari's faves.
Number 7 is How High. And How High is in my top 5. How High is my number 5.
How High is my number 1. My number 1 favorite comedy. It's damn near my favorite movie of all time. I love it. I know the whole movie by heart. Yes, y'all are wrong. Who did not nominate How High?
At one point in my life, if you asked me what my favorite movie was, I would tell you How High. Like that.
Yep. I love it. Y'all are wrong. Y'all are just wrong.
I get it.
Redman just going to college.
Yeah, get
smoking a plant of a dead man. Like
get him.
Just so good.
This is a movie. This is a movie that's purely like, it doesn't make sense, and I don't care. I just want to watch it and laugh. It is okay.
So funny.
And I am curious of the age range of the survey, because that movie came out in the perfect age range for us, where it just sits right in our brains for sure. So I get it for sure. I get it.
My number 1, and I'm sad to hear that it's down here at number 7. I was like, did y'all not watch it? It's amazing.
People disrespected the rest of my top 5, so I can't even go. But I love How High. How High is literally, like I said, one of my favorite movies. Number 8 is Major Payne. Major Payne.
Okay. Why don't people like Major Payne? Because I remember that movie being hilarious. Are people not high on Major Payne, Ty?
I'm not as high on Major Payne as others are. I thought it was a decently funny movie.
Right.
There are parts in there that I can rock with, for sure. The way this food treated these little kids is the hilarious part of the movie,
but also the problematic part.
But also the
what are you looking at?
Part.
Ass eyes.
It's hard to laugh at. It's hard to laugh at.
It's not. It's really not hard to laugh at, y'all. He said, "Woman, when I was 6, I had a full-time job."
I think it's just the replayability of Major Payne. Like, I know it's low on my list. It's not even the top 10 for me because I've watched it once, maybe twice. Like, I'm not compelled to watch it over and over and over again, like a good, like more than half of these movies. So I'm wondering if it just has less replay value than some of the
Maybe.
others.
Maybe the ending like sequence where I think is that Orlando Brown does his like Michael Jackson tribute. Like I love
Oh,
that.
right.
I'm sorry. I just love this movie. It's so stupid. It is dumb as hell. But yeah, I'm not shocked that it's not in the top 5, but I'm sorry. It's hilarious. It's always funny to me. There's just like no non-funny parts. There are definitely some parts that you definitely are psychotic, but I still be laughing. I'm sorry.
It's actually tied with this next one, even though it says 8 and 9. They had the exact same amount of points, and I just don't understand it because this is my number one. Don't be a menace to society while drinking your juice in the hood is my
baby.
number one. That is
This
my
was my
number
number
one teenage
2.
movie.
Are y'all
This is my
crazy?
number 3. This is my number 3.
What are y'all doing? Don't be a
I
menace to
don't-
South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. It's like bro.
It is
This is like
amazing.
the best.
This is
it's
amazing.
so good.
It is
I think
one
it's
of
the best parody Wayans brothers movie
Yep.
for sure. It is
No.
amazing.
What's wrong with
That's
y'all? Do
literally
we
what I was
have
just
a
about to say.
problem?
Yes.
we have a
Oh, my
problem?
bad.
Oh
Like
my god.
the fact, and again, it's one
Bernie
of those
Mac
things.
in there
Like
again,
you got what is the basis of this movie? It's of course Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood, and
And South
then
Central.
you turn those two movies into comedy, right?
Comedy,
The dude in the beginning of the movie, and nobody makes out of the hood. What was it, 18 or 21? I can't even remember right now. Nobody makes out of the hood. Anyway, happy birthday, homeboy. Done.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. It is my birthday. He's like, not my baby.
This ain't my baby.
This ain't my baby.
Ain't that some shit? Yeah.
Dude, his father is younger than him. Like,
yes.
Yes.
What?
Like so ridiculous. Bernie Mac's cameo. He's like, I hate my gums because they black. Like, just,
back and forth Whitaker's neck.
Whoopi Goldberg.
It's just such a good movie.
Stupid. It's so dumb.
And it's just right? Commercial bamboo.
I got a tear in my eye. She said, kids, what do you say when you meet a new man? Are you my daddy? Now she said, I'm pregnant. What? How do you know? I know my body.
When he comes into the door, he starts swinging. And
He's out.
I try to win an Oscar. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Y'all, I'm sorry.
And then Joe, all the things your man won't do, right?
Yeah.
Nah, fool, that's the government cheese.
That's the government cheese. He put the Kool-Aid on her toes. Oh my god! Woo, y'all.
No,
I'm sorry.
And maybe honestly, to that point, maybe that's it, right? There's prerequisites to watching this movie. We named 2 of them, right? Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood.
You don't need.
You don't understand the references.
But you don't need them because it's still stupid as hell. It's so funny. You don't need to.
But the part about coming in the house and swinging and punching the kids is funnier when you know why he coming in the house and swinging.
I think it's already iconic, but it is funnier if you know everything else. But it's still funny.
Yeah,
the fact that he punching like 8 kids that aren't his is just hilarious. But yeah, if you knew where it came from, it'd be funnier. Yeah, you touch you by. You know, I'm just saying. There's so many good moments. Stupid ass.
Oh my god, I do love it.
Message. Oh my god.
Yes,
message. Mari, what's next? I think we're just done. I'm sorry.
I love Don't Be a Menace so much.
Wait, see if you get head.
He gotta get out. He getting jumped in.
and you better not fall, because if you do, you bound to drizzle. Oh, I lied. This is the most quotable movie. I'm sorry. It is.
It is. It's so good.
It's definitely.
And it's a pure comedy. It is a pure comedy. So I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand how it's that low.
Y'all
but-
crazy.
Telling you, it's
Y'all
the
crazy.
prerequisites. People, I don't think people understand the references. I don't think it. I don't. I just.
But
it's
it don't
in
matter.
my bones.
It don't matter.
Again, between fourth place and ninth place, or tied for eighth place, where Don't Be a Menaces, the spread is 5 points
Oh, wow.
compared. You see what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
it's literally just small placements.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
What's next?
Love that movie.
I have
know.
tears
That was
in
the
my
first
eyes.
movie I had on VHS.
Same.
I had that
Same.
movie on VHS and
Yeah.
DVD. I went and bought it from the
Same.
pod shop with DVD because I just needed to upgrade my experience and watch the deleted scenes.
I'm gonna go watch
I've
that
seen it
tonight.
so many times. Oh my god.
Let's see my brain now.
It's too funny. All right, Mara, what's next?
Next up is another Wayne's brother parody, Scary Movie 2. Scary Movie 2, which is good.
It is.
Again, we count it as a black movie because Keenan Ivory did do this one too, right?
Yeah, black in front and behind the camera.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Mhm.
And just really funny. Hold up. Why every time some shit pop up, y'all white people say we gotta split up when we supposed to stick together?
Wait. We got to
You're
talk
right.
about it.
You three, come with me.
Yeah. That's baby Regina Hall. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's Regina.
yeah, that's
Oh,
Regina
Thank you,
Hall.
Chappelle.
The
Thank
early
you,
days of
Chappelle.
Regina Hall. People don't know her like we know her. Like, you got to know
Yeah.
Thank you,
Brenda.
Chappelle.
You got to know Brenda to appreciate
Speak
the
it.
greatness you get it now.
Exactly.
She said, "Girl, that is Bones. Did you be afraid of Calista Flockhart?" That is Bones, CD. Oh my God. The and one mixtape moment where they're up there playing the basketball
Right.
and the dude in the wheelchair starts spinning on his head. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Take my strong hand. No, give me the other one. No, fuck that. Said sometimes I like to get up on the turkey and I just put my foot and get inside.
This is when Shawn Wayans was leaning into the rumors that he was gay too.
Well, it
crazy.
started in
It
Scary
was-
Movie 1 for sure, but this one
Yeah.
definitely didn't help. This one definitely didn't help.
Yeah.
I got nothing else. It's
Yeah,
so funny.
I know it's funny. It to the point, like, this is where where the sequel, like another one where the sequel outdoes the first one.
Yeah, and they never hit this same peak again because Scary Movie
Level,
3
no.
and whatever they change up the way it's done.
They went for like 5, I believe.
Right,
Too.
1 and 2 are canon. Everything after that you can take what you like. But
Yeah.
a big parody on, I guess, a Haunting on Hill House or House on Haunted Hill, one of the two of those.
House on Haunted Hill. I
Haunted
believe.
House.
Yeah. But y'all know the one. But also a number of other parodies. The Wayans, nobody does parodies like the Wayans brothers. They just don't. And so that whole situation, that whole entire movie is just funny from beginning to end.
And if anybody don't know, it started with "I'm gonna get you, sucker," right? Like it goes,
yeah,
it goes way back, right? So they parody up, yes, for sure.
They've been doing this for a long time. Okay, Mari, what is next?
Next is Regina Hall and Girls Trip, which it kind of ties with Scary Movie 2, actually. I did have Girls Trip. I had it at 6. It's still not all of my top 5. But I think this is one of the most funniest like modern comedies on this list. Girls Trip, I felt like it was genre breaking when it came out, because how often do we get these comedic female led and driven movies where not only is it's not just funny and it's not a rom-com, it is gross humor and it's hilarious and it's for Black women. I thought this was an amazing movie. The only reason why I'm assuming it doesn't score as high is just because it's time. It's only been out for a few years in comparison to some of these other movies. But I think it's one of the funniest movies that we have now. And I love when they do raunchy comedy isn't just for young white teen movies. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
it to me, it like also inspired, like, I don't know if you guys watched Joyride, which just came out. It came out like maybe 2 years ago. It's like the same thing, but it was like the Asian version with 4 Asian women leads who go on like a road trip, and it's like really toilet humory. I want more of this, so because women are funny and women can joke about like the most disgusting stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what you just said there is one of the other
Mhm.
reasons why I didn't score high is Black women.
Mhm.
Not it's two reasons I would add to it is women with toilet humor, like you just
Mhm.
mentioned, that is considered. It's like people are throwing it back, right? They're like
Yeah,
aghast at it,
taboo.
right?
Mhm.
Right. And then it's Black women on top of it, right? But
Mhm.
if we watch this movie and eliminate all of the bias that we have attached to women talking about that stuff or Black women in general, then yes, it should score much higher than what it did on this list for sure. It is hilarious. Hilarious movie.
Yeah. And Jada Pinkett and Queen Latifah reunited in film again
Yeah.
Yeah.
after, yeah.
Without man, we don't want to talk about that other one. Lord have mercy.
Look, let me say something. We got some feedback where people were saying, Mari, there's no world where we don't do a deep dive and to set it off at some point. So
Mhm.
I mean, to see this reconnect here, making its way back in, I will say that that might be a sign that we do need to talk about that movie in depth. So, maybe
I'm
for a
fine
later
with
time,
that.
but I agree that Girls Trip is hilarious. I've seen it twice, and I think that's probably the downfall that it's having. Right, I cannot
Right.
quote Girls Trip from the ends
I
of the earth like
can't.
I
Yeah.
can these other movies. But the
Mhm.
first time I saw it, I missed the first half. I was asleep and people were watching it. And I woke up and I was like, what the hell is this? This is hilarious. And I just I was dying laughing. Like, how did I miss? What did I miss? So of course I watched it again. But it dropped in 2017. Some of these movies are from 1995, 1996.
Right.
It's hard to compete with movies that are basically tales as old as time in Black households, whereas this movie is kind of newer. And so maybe in a few years it ages well and people still talk about it. But I'm happy that it was on our list of options, and I'm happy that it got some votes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
What's next?
Set. Oof.
Wait, you about
I
yeah, we set it
I
off
just
as
can't wait
was
for
my
the
number
set it. I
one.
just can't wait for the set it off one because the same reasons why people don't want to watch Life is why I can't. It's hard for me to watch Set It Off, but I understand the need to have a deep dive into Set It Off. I really do. I really do.
I
Yeah.
love
Oof.
Set It Off so
Bryce
much.
and I have talked about it before, but I'd be willing to run it back, get a panel discussion going. Well, let's see what happens. We got a couple more to touch on, Mari. What
Yeah,
else we got on
yeah,
the list?
let's get through it. Barbershop?
Okay, of Ice Cube's movies, Barbershop is funny. I,
It's like
it's funny. I don't think it's not. Is Barbershop not funny to you, Ty? Is it? It's
It's all
memorable.
right.
Cool story. That's it.
mhm.
It's
I
all
think it's a
right.
cool story. Yeah. I think is it Ice Cube's? I mean, I won't say his least funny movie, but I mean, it's definitely like Ice Cube. Ice Cube made a good movie, I think, like a solid movie. But I don't think he made a crazy comedy like some of these other movies are. I don't think he made like something that is like that just like a household. Like I think for a while people were loving Barbershop, right? But I just think that it's fine. I think it's decently funny and decently well. I
Mhm.
think that that's it. It's got its
Yeah.
moments. Who drank my goddamn apple juice? Like it's got its moments.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm.
think it's overall the story of the barbershop with a bunch of funny people there. We do get Cedric the Entertainer and his whole moment of Rosa Parks didn't do nothing but sit up like I said. You know what I'm saying? Like we get those moments. But barbershop wasn't in my top five. If it was in your top five, I'm sorry.
Same. Now this is where I like. So Babs is up next, and the reason that I can only think that the disrespect of it being so low, which I said it was my number two. How dare I get clocked like that? But Babs for me was like a movie I grew up watching. Like I remember being a young girl and watching it and thinking it was like the funniest thing ever. Thinking like I want to be like Halle Berry, you know what I'm saying? Type thing. Like the overall premise of like just being yourself, like in any space, like being openly Black in any space and not letting any white space or any other space dim who you are. I really like that concept, and that's the concept that always sticks with me. We're not going to talk about the end, how she does kind of change a little bit, but yeah, but the initial of like, I don't care, I'm going to make people as uncomfortable as possible because, you know, I'm going to be me. I love that premise. And Black American Princess, I mean, come on, that's me to a T. But I assume that it's this low because I think a lot of people have not seen it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I probably agree. I love Baps. It's a great movie. I remember my sister loved this movie. She used to rent it from Blockbuster every
time. Yep.
And she would just rent it. I'm like, man, buy the movie. But she would just rent the movie over and over and
so
over
much
again.
money.
Also, the hairstyles in this movie are big parodies of actual hairstyles that people used to wear in the 90s. Because I know so many people with that Delicious's mom plastic hair, that high hairdo. Yeah.
Yep.
And to where you're on the plane and you can't see around it because it's so tall. That's just hilarious. Halle Berry does not get enough credit as a comedic actress.
No,
you know,
no,
especially knowing Babs. It had Babs. I'm sorry, it had Halle Berry, the late Natalie Desselle. It had LL Cool J in it. Leon Robinson's in it. Heavy D and Dennis Rodman both made cameos as well. Great movie. Bernie Mac again. These names are reoccurring for a reason, right? They were building our Black comedy repertoire at the time.
Yes.
Faison Love from Friday is in this as well. You know what I'm saying? So it was always going to be low because I just don't think people gave it enough. I don't think it ever got enough like acclaim to where people were watching it enough. But I thought it was hilarious, and I think that if you haven't seen it, take Mari and I's word for it. Do your things. Go do your research. Check it out now.
Came out in
we go to watch other people eat. Hell, I want to eat too. Right, exactly. Baps. All right. Mari, that wasn't last on our list, was it?
No, we got two more. Money Talks, surprisingly very low as well. I don't know why Money Talks is as low. Maybe because Chris Tucker does the heavy lifting in that movie.
Yeah, it's a Black-led movie, but I don't know. It's like it's probably got the least Black people in it as any of the movies that we talked about, right? So it's kind of like if you're staying true to the like concept or the spirit of the rankings, maybe you don't consider this one.
And it has like a lot more action too, and not as quotable.
Yeah. That's kind of the boat that I'm in. Like Money Talks is actually a movie that I love watch, and I will probably watch it every time it comes on.
Same.
Is one of my daughter's favorite movies as well. Like she loves watching this movie, but
it's funny.
I don't know if I would have put it in Black comedy level based off of what we've talked about, right? It's either behind the scenes or in front of the scenes, and in front of the scenes is very, very minimal. And that's probably the part that kind of put it at the bottom of the list for me.
Yeah. And there's just so many great contenders in front of it. And finally, one of Chappelle's favorite movies, CB4.
How did you know? CB4 is definitely in my top 5. So if it's not in your top 5, obviously I'm the only one who had it in my top 5. I don't care. CB4 is a mockumentary Black comedy film. Okay, it is the only one like this on the list. But it is like a parody again of like the NWA story, right? And so we get Straight Outta Low Cash, one of my favorite songs. Chris Rock is playing MC Gusto. I would do the lyrics to Straight Outta Low Cash, but I do want to keep our podcast network, so I cannot do that. But just know that it's insane. It's absurd. It's got a cast that you got Chris Rock, we got Alan Payne, we got Charlie Murphy. You know what I'm saying? So as far as I'm concerned, you really can't get it. You can't get it better than CB4. Yeah. Shout out to Alan Payne. Also, Ice-T, Halle Berry, Ice Cube, all in this movie. Eazy-E, Flavor Flav, Shaquille O'Neal. I love CB4. I know it was never going to get in anybody's top 5, so I threw it a high vote myself. Pretty sure I put it at number 5 because I just wasn't willing to go any higher than that. But check out CB4. It is foolishness, and I believe that is last on our list, Mari.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, this has been an amazing time. I love that this top 5 has been so divisive here. Like I said, it does not represent the views of this panel, but it represents the views of the listeners. Sent the surveys to. So, Mari, one last time, tell us what our top 5 is from 5 to 1.
Well, I normally do 1 to 5 at the
Okay,
end.
do 1 to 5. Yeah. What do we need suspense for?
Yeah, right, exactly.
We already talked about it.
Yeah. So the final top 5 for Black comedies, as picked by you. Number 1.
Put your hands on the oodles and noodles. Chicken and beef. Beef. You know, Blue Streak came up in a lot of conversations.
Oh, Blue Streak is good.
Wait, whoa. You know what should have came up the booty call should have came up in the conversation.
Booty call would have been in my top 5, but you know,
it definitely would have been in my top 5.
It did not make the list based off of what I seen in the Facebook groups. I'll say that. So, Mari, top 5. Give us the rundown.
Top 5. So number 1, no shock, no surprise, Coming to America. Number 2 is Friday. Number 3 is Life. Number 4 is White Chicks. And number 5 is Sister Act 2.
Yeah. Okay. I think, listen, in a vacuum, solid top 5 here. I think that, you know, like all of these movies are funny. Your mileage may vary on some of the more dramatic storylines and such, like a Life or something like that. But ultimately, if you watch all 5 of these movies in one day, you're gonna laugh a lot. And so I think that this is a good representation. And of course, because we're taking the votes of our listeners, we could do this all again next year, and the votes could really change. You know, we can bring in a lot more new listeners. More people could join in the conversation and send us, you know, their input. And so I think right now I'm good leaving the list as is. And I want to thank Tyrone for being here and helping us talk about these movies. Ty, thank you so much for coming.
Of course, anytime. Appreciate the invite. I love talking Black movies and I love talking Black comedies even more. So I appreciate being here. Thank you.
Yeah, not to throw Mari under the bus, but you know, Ty was what? Ty said he could have did Black dramas, but you know, I know you didn't want him for that, you know what I'm saying? He didn't want to be offended by that one. Then he said Black romance too, but you know, it's like I mean, you made the guest list. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? If I remember correctly.
But I'm just saying, did he not do good here on Black comedies?
I mean, he didn't get the call for Black sitcoms.
Did Bryce not do good on Black dramas?
I thought Bryce did amazing. I guess Ty just don't like Bryce. I don't know. Maybe
our next guest.
What that got to do with me? Why it can't be 4? Why gotta be 3 people?
That's neither here nor there. You're right, Mari. We do have another top 5 countdown coming soon. What's coming up next on Recap Kickback?
Yes. So next week we will be doing top 5 Black romance movies. So and we will be having an amazing guest, and we got to call her to the carpet because I'm pretty sure I know what her number 1 will be. And I swear to God, if I put out this survey and loving basketball is number 1, I'm coming for every single one of y'all.
I'm gonna make an appearance unannounced. He's like, what the hell is going on?
Listen,
like, bring me on the StreamYard, please.
But yes, we're talking loving basketball, Jason's Lyric, Love Jones.
Yeah.
Maybe Brown Sugar sneaks on there somehow, some way. We'll see. But most of all, we'll ask for your input as well.
And I hope that Eddie Murphy makes another appearance because Boomerang should be on that list as well.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Nutty Professor, but you know, whatever. Anyway,
I wanted Nutty Professor on this list, but
I didn't pick it. The listeners just didn't. They wasn't feeling it. But y'all, we have a special guest. Asia's coming next week. So to come talk about romance. And so if you are a fan of the Love is Blind coverage or the Married at First Sight coverage, the whatever, the Love at First Sight feed or whatever she got going on RHAP, then you'll see some Asia coverage moving forward. And that's going to be a good time. Tyrone, in the meantime, tell everybody what you're working on, what you got going on. And again, thank you for coming.
I don't have anything going on. Your boy is not on social media right now, you know, so I just appreciate, like I said, I appreciate the fact that y'all thought enough of me to bring me on. I'm excited for more opportunities, Mari, to talk about stuff.
Whose show is it? Whose name is in the thing?
Hold on. That's neither here nor there. Can I continue?
But yeah, I don't have anything going on but this. So the next time you see me is going to be on the Recap Kickback. That's the next time you're going to see me.
There
Hey,
you go.
appreciate you. I'm sure I can put you to work. No worries. We'll figure out something here. And Mari, what do you got going on? I feel like this was a hard podcast for you.
That was fine. So I do the wrestling podcast over on Rob Has a Podcast. Matt was not with me this week, but I was joined by the amazing Grace Leader. We went through a wild weekend in wrestling. And you can subscribe by going to robhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed there. Of course, every Tuesday, me and Sarah Carradine bring True Crime Tuesdays to RHAP. We're just coming off a hiatus, but we just dropped an very interesting episode where it's just me and Sarah talking about a documentary called They Called Him Mostly Harmless. You definitely want to check out our thoughts on this movie. We had a very good conversation, me and Sarah. So you can go to robhasawebsite.com/crime feed to subscribe to us there. And I made a guest appearance on the Black by Reality podcast. We did get somebody asking us if we wanted to cover Couple to Thruple, which is a Peacock dating show that is so messy and so problematic. We're not covering it, but our friends over at the Black by Reality podcast are. And I was just on there to recap the first 3 episodes. I had so much fun with Nikki and Quita over there. So you can go to the Black by Reality YouTube page and watch us talk about a very, very messy show. Chappell, did you get around to watching Couple to Thruple?
No, I listened to some podcast coverage of it, and it sounds messy to say the least. It's I may or may not watch it. I know the first 3 episodes are out, but I think they're gonna drop 3 more, and then they're gonna do the finale separately. So I have been keeping an eye on it, but I haven't checked it out yet. I'm probably gonna check out you on that podcast, though, for sure.
Thank you. Yep. That's it. That's where I'm at this week. Chappell, how about you? What are you up to?
I am still here, recap kickbacking, so making sure I'm just making sure I'm promoting everything, trying to get these YouTube shorts and reels out and things like that. So yeah, if you see it, repost it. You gotta let people know that we're doing things over here on Recap Kickback. Just click like, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, because after 500 subscriptions, they start doing nice things for the kid, and I start putting some paper, start greasing these elbows. You know what I'm saying? So listen, yeah, and we can start just like getting guests that require money. I'm just saying. So make sure you help us by uplifting the podcast, liking, subscribing wherever we get your podcast, 5-star reviews only. Join the Facebook group, because that is where you're going to get the loudest voice heard here. Like if you thought your fave was not in our top 5, it's probably because you sent it in a place that wasn't the Facebook group. So make sure you let us know what you want us to talk about. You can email us at recapkickback.com recapkickback@gmail.com. But yeah, catch me in my other various locations on Nothing But Netflix. I'll be guesting on the Love Is Blind coverage for this upcoming season for the premiere with Mary and Jason on Rob Has a Podcast. Rob says, and I are still talking about Suits on our Suit Yourself podcast. We're talking about Pearson actually at this point, but you can join the conversation or go listen to our old coverage of every episode of Suits that we did daily for the last 3 months. Check that out at suitspodcast.com. Also, Below Deck is back, and Sasha and I are covering it on Rob Has a Podcast as well. So I'm here and there, but you can always follow me on Twitter at Chappelle's_show to keep up with that and what I have coming up next. So, Mari,
what about Abbott?
Oh yeah, Abbott Elementary's back, y'all, and I don't think it's going to be on Recap Kickback. What I might do is just do some coverage for Recap Kickback, as far as like in our reels and our shorts, maybe some Instagram and like Facebook group coverage, but Gia Worthy and I will still be talking about Recap Kickback on the Abbott Elementary A Post Show Recaps feed. So you can subscribe to that to get the coverage for Abbott Elementary over there on that feed. Like I said, there'll be some crossover, but I don't think it's going to be in our main feed right there. We don't want to crowd it with too much content for you so quickly. But yeah, check that out and more. Of course, follow me on Twitter at Chappelle's_show. I'll tweet all that out. Thanks to Tyrone and thanks to @Mari Talks Too Much. It's been a pleasure talking about these 5 greatest Black comedies. So be on the lookout for the survey for the 5 greatest Black romance movies. It should be in our show notes. It should be on our Facebook group. Keep an eye out for it, and then get your submissions in on time so that we can talk about your faves next week. Until next time, you ain't got to go home, but you know the rest. Peace.